You want me to GM? In an hour? I got nothing. That's not true. Watch. Hiya, folks. Old Man Grognard here. And I got something a little special today. It's for situations where, say you're at a convention or at a friend's house or something like that, and they approach you and say, hey, could you GM something for us? And all you have is the main rule book at your disposal. Say you don't have your internet, you don't have any kind of connection that way, or you don't have your regular papers or anything with you. You just got the core rule book or rule books. I'll show you how to do it. Watch. We are going to create an adventure in an hour, more or less. And all we got to use is this book, the D&D Rules Cyclopedia. This is my infamous denimed version, but it is still the Rules Cyclopedia. So this is our only resource right now. So you don't have a phone or don't have the access to the internet or something like that. So, all right, first thing we want to do is think of in fact, I wrote these down. There's 10 steps. The premise is first. Okay, what kind of story do we want to tell? How about a kidnapping? That always is good. I'll try that. Okay, then you come up with 3 locations and 3 NPCs. Let's start with the location first. All right, let's say the town, a small town, a brewery, and the ruins outside of town. Okay, those are your 3 locations. Now, you got to think of 3 NPCs. 3 NPCs would be, let's say, the sheriff, the brewmaster of the brewery, and an evil wizard. Okay, there's your 3 NPCs. Now, encounters. This, you ever seen one of these before? This is called a radio clock or a broadcast clock. I've used these in radio before. The circle here is like a clock. This is 1 hour of airtime. And you can see it's divided up into different things during the hour where they fall. You can see it's segmented in 5-minute segments. And that's how they plan out an hour of air. And every hour, if every hour is the same, it would be this way. They would make a new one if the second hour was different. So you have, okay, here's a sweep, which is music, new hits, current hit right here, commercial block, 2 minutes right there. Put the jingle right there, etc., etc., etc. Now we can use this to plan our 1 hour adventure. Here's a blank one that I have. So I'm going to plan out a 4-hour adventure, okay? And I'm going to put this up here so I don't forget what the premise is. Now I'm going to divide it into 4. This is going to suffice for a 4-hour game. So it's not exactly what you use for radio, but it works. Okay, each quarter is an hour. Now if you have a 5 or 6 hour game, you can divide it however you want. Okay, so what I want to do is come up with some kind of encounters. Now, I like to plan about 2 encounters an hour. So we will come into 1 encounter, and let's say it's encounter on the road. Encounter, I used to know how to spell, on road. Okay, that could be anything from brigands to a monster or whatever. Okay, second encounter. Encounter in bar. Now, this could be anything. This could be some guy who wants to sell him a map. This could be a barmaid who's having trouble. It could be a bar fight. It could be some kind of standoff or whatever. But now that I'm thinking about the plot, I'm starting to put connections in here. So we have 2 encounters every hour. Okay? And one of them here is going to be the climax. So what you have encounter on the road, you have encounter in bar. Okay. Now, we've got the NPCs, we've got some encounters going on here. Plot clues, which what I mean is the role-playing stuff that goes in between encounters. So I will put that there. Find barrel stave. Okay. And we'll put one right here. These go in between encounters. Sheriff approaches PCs. Okay, now the sheriff could approach the PCs to say, hey, we've got a brewmaster here. He's had some threats. It may be linked to the counter on the road. You never know. But he's had some threats against his life, and he's looking for bodyguards. And so the story will go on from there. Say the next encounter is brewmaster. Okay, and then the kidnap. In between that would be investigation. Investigating the brewmaster, any enemies he may have, any kind of information you can find out. Okay, so we have a kidnapping here, and kidnappers leave clue, say, oh, I don't know, a glove. A workman's glove. So you think somebody might be there. So go on like that. Now, it's starting to fall together. Now, you flesh this out, then you pick out your monsters. You go into the monster book, and you just start picking out monsters here. So depending on what level the characters are going to start, I usually do any kind of anything that I'm going to come up with this for the moment. Usually it's around 1 to 3. So you would pick the appropriate monsters. So I'm going to make the featured monster. You should also think about a featured monster. A featured monster is a monster that, okay, this is the group that it's going to revolve around. There may be some other things in there, other dangerous things like dangerous people and dangerous monsters, but this is the main group, like goblins or orcs or whatever. I'm going to pick gnolls because gnolls are vicious and they tend to do what they're told. So what they found out is the glove belongs to the wizard. Okay, so we have an encounter at the Tower of the Wizard, and we do that. Then you find out the wizard tells you someone else is behind it, and you go to investigate on that. Now this could be the guy behind the guy, this could be a red herring, whatever. I would like to make it a red herring. It points to the mayor, which is not one of your 3 NPCs, but you can get a nice encounter out of it because the 3 NPCs don't really need to be written up very much, except for the monsters, but I'll get to those in a minute. And we also have to deal with encounter tables. Okay, encounter tables. This book has a really good set of encounter tables. And so I would pick one for the area that you're in, which you haven't got to yet. So I would pick like stock, gnolls and other things like that. Now you stock the adventure. And what I mean by that is you stock not only a dungeon, but you stock whatever wilderness things you need. You've already got encounters on the road. So you've got encounter tables for that. Very easy to come up with depending on the terrain. So also you need to map the dungeon. So first of all, we have to map the wilderness, and this is how I do it. I take some dice and drop them on here. I like to use D4s because they don't roll all over the place. They'll stay put, and they're very random. So I'm going to take 3 of them and drop them on here. And one of them goes off the page. So I lied. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is take my pencil and circle them like that. Okay? Now, we've got 3 locations. We have the town, the brewery, and the ruins, which is some kind of castle or keep ruins or something like that. Now, you've got the town. Here, boom, boom. Okay, that's pretty much the roads right there. You can add things like maybe a forest over here, or the roads going through like so, or maybe a river like so, or whatever's, picturesque. That's not really important. You can probably ad-lib that when you're at the table. This kind of stuff you ad-lib. Okay, so you've mapped the town out, fine. Now, the way the story is going, we have the mayor, which he says he has no idea what's going on, but he tells you to ask the sheriff. And if the mayor is any kind of the way I want to play him, he'll probably be a Weasley sort that will tell him to go see the sheriff because he thinks the sheriff's behind the whole thing. Well, it turns out the sheriff is behind the whole thing. Like I said, this is an hour, so it's a simple plot. So you go to confront him. Where's the brewmaster? Have a fight, maybe with the deputies or something like that. He may tell you where the brewmaster is, and he's being held by an evil magician, an evil necromancer, and his gnoll army in the ruins where the climax happens. Now, you can also switch these. Go over to confront the wizard at the sheriff. The mayor tells you to go to the sheriff. The sheriff tells you to go to the wizard. You confront the wizard of the tower. You find out he doesn't know anything about it or where the gnolls are coming from. And somehow you link it up to the sheriff and then go to the ruins where the sheriff is with the gnolls and stuff. So there's other complications here that is going on that you can sort of make up as you go along. In fact, as I'm doing this, I'm putting pieces together. You're putting pieces together in your head. So we have the town. Now we need a dungeon of the sheriff or the necromancer or whoever. So, okay, I'm a proponent of the 5-room dungeon because you can link those together and they're really nice. So I will take my 5 D4s and drop them. And one goes off the table. No problem. I'll just drop it again. Now drop it too close. There we go. Okay, now I have a 5-room dungeon. I might move that one up over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5-room dungeon in there, in the ruins. You can link it up any way you want, or even rough it out a bit, so you can figure out how big exactly the rooms are, something like that, etc., etc., etc. And the nice thing about this is, if you do this, you can write right in the room. Say, these got gnolls in it. And treasure, or you can write it over here, treasure, whatever, trap here, how it does it, and all this other stuff. And then when you do this and you play, you can just start talking it. You talk it on the map. Okay, this is here. You can leave this like this if you want. Okay, this is this thing, and this has such and such. I would write either a list on the side of what room is what, or just write in bedroom. You probably have smaller and neater handwriting than me, so it'd work. So you have your dungeon, okay? So now here's how I do monsters. I said gnolls, right? Okay. Pull up the chapter where it says gnoll, and just write on here gnolls. Say 5. Okay? What you do is, all you have to do is run AC, which is 5, hit dice, which is 2. Movement, 90 feet. Number of attacks, 1. And damage, now I usually just write whatever damage it is, whether it's by weapon. This happens to be by weapon, so I'll just go 1d6 plus 1 or 1d8 plus 1. Okay, that's all you need. And for the hit points, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and draw a line right there for 5 of them. Say you roll 2d8 and you get 1 for 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Make a mark right there, okay? This one rolled 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, etc., like that. So then you just go during the game, you go, okay, you hit him for 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You fill this thing, he's dead. No problem. Special abilities, I usually write on the side if there is. If it's too complicated, I just write see book. You know, say poison. You know, poison 1d6 plus 2 a turn. You know, and that's all you have to do for monsters. 1 sheet or 2, and when you're done, you just throw the damn thing away. So, at that point, you want to look it over, look anything over, see if you missed anything, see if there's any connections you want to put in there, or anything like that, and you've got a 1 hour done. You've got a 1 hour adventure right there. And whatever happens at the table happens at the table, but you have a framework. You have a framework, my friend. And so and that's all you need for 1 book prep. And there you have it. Game prep in an hour. What could be easier? If you have any comments or questions about this, or you want to tell me how you prep in a short amount of time with just the minimum amount of books, or just how you prep, just drop me a line at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. So until next time, bye-bye.